Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, guys. My name is Liaquat Zaman. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day and hope you guys are enjoying the Arabic language. This series is dedicated to helping those of you guys who are fascinated and passionate about learning the Arabic grammar, or not grammar, poetry rather. I've got grammar videos as well you can check out. But this is dedicated to helping you guys to break down Arabic poetry, inshallah, so that you guys can become experts in it. This poem is, or this series is dedicated to Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. I've also got a series dedicated to Imam Shafi'i as well. You can check that out as well. Both, inshallah, you're going to find benefit in there. What I normally do is I explain it in English, and at the end of the video, I also explain it in Arabic as well. He says, لا يستوي من يعمر المساجد ومن يبيت راكعا وساجدا يدأب فيها قائما وقاعدا ومن يكر هكذا معاندا ومن يرى عن الغبار حائدا. So can you hear that rhythm in there? This rhythm is actually called Rajaz, Bahr al-Rajaz. Right? So Bahr al-Rajaz follows this da-dan, 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 da-dan. So this is the Bahr of Rajaz. So he says, لا يستوي, istawa yastawi, to be equal. Is not equal. It's from the word sawa. Sawa means equal, isn't it? So لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة in the Quran. If you know any other places in the Quran where this word or any of its derivatives are mentioned, put it in the comments below. لا يستوي, are not equal. من يعمر المساجد, the one who ya'murul masajid. Ya'murul masajid means the one who he builds masjid, or it could mean occupies masjid as well. Yeah, amara ya'muru, it could mean the one who occupies the masjid, and it could mean also the one that builds the masjid. So are not equal the one man ya'muru al masajida, who builds the masjids, right, or who occupies the masjid. Masajid is the jama of masjid, right, which obviously means place of sajda, right. So ism dharf, as you guys have learnt. And basically this is like a word which has now become very common for the place that we go to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya'muru, amara ya'muru, this also comes in the Quran as well. So if you know where it is in the Quran, get it, put it in the comments below. And find the translation of how they translate this word as well. So are not equal the one who occupies the masajid, the mosques, or builds the mosques. وَمَنْ يَبِيتُ رَاكِعًا وَسَاجِدًا, and the one who spends the night. Bata yabitu. Actually, the word bait, you know the word bait, actually comes from this word, because it's the place you spend the night. Right? So a room or a place in which you spend the night is called a bait. So bata yabitu, to spend the night. Raki'an, hala kawnihi raki'an, in the state of ruku. Sajidan, in the state of sajda. Yad'abu fiha qa'iman wa qa'idan. Da'aba yad'abu, it means like to be, da'ab means like a habit of someone, right? To be in the habit, to do something habitually, consecutively, or to do it in a particular manner. Yeah, هذا دأبه, like the Arabs will say, كدأب آل فرعون in the Quran. كدأب آل فرعون. So هذا دأبه, فيها, in its, meaning in the masjids, in the masajid. عادته, دأبه. فيها, in the masajid. The ha goes back to masajid. قائما وقائدا, standing, حال. قام يقوم, to stand, and قائدا is to sit. قعد يقعد, to sit down. Some say that the word difference between jalasa and qa'ada is that jalasa is actually when you sit for a very long time, and qa'ada, it means if you sit for a short while. Some differentiate between like that. And some say qa'ada is if you're lying down and you get up, you say qa'ada. And jalasa is from standing to the lower position. Now, again, is this like a categorical rule or not? Now, there's not evidence for that. But there's like strong sort of like inclination towards that. وَمَنْ يَكُرُّ هَكَذَا مُعَانِدًا كَرَّ يَكُرُّ. Yeah, كَرَّ يَكُرُّ. So far and kar. Right, far and kar. So far and kar is actually, like I say, flight or fight. Yeah. So in a battle, let's say for example you're fighting in a battle, and the enemy are coming towards you, and you know that they are probably going to kill you or really decimate you. So what you do is you have a tactic The tactic is you run away, you flee, far, and then kar. Kar means like to come back. So this word karra yakurru is from karratan, which means to do it a second time. Yeah, so just like in the Quran, karratayn yanqalib ilayka al-basar, Surah Mulk. If you know where the ayah is, put it in the comments below. Inshallah, you guys are going to become experts in the Quran. Man yakurru hakadha mu'anidan. Yeah, so karra yakurru mu'anidan. Mu'anid, anada yu'anid from the inad. Ain nun dal. It means someone who is stubborn. Right? Someone who goes against someone else and is stubborn in their ways. Yeah, so you call this person a mu'anid. Mu'anidina. So again, in the Quran, it's a very good exercise to do. Try to find any Arabic word you come across. Try to find where it is in the Quran. It will really make your understanding of Quran brilliant, inshallah. Yeah, I would definitely encourage you guys to, go into this, understand this, because ultimately poetry is your doorway to get into the Quran. That's what it is there for, because you want to understand the expressions they use so that you can now start to understand what the Quran is saying. So, man yakurru hakadha mu'anidan. So, man yakurru yad'abu fiha qa'iman wa qa'idan wa man yakurru, and the one who returns hakadha like this, mu'anid. Mu'anid meaning that he is stubborn. Wa man yura anil ghubari ha'idan. Yeah, so man yura anil ghubari ha'idan. So, the one who is seen, yura anil ghubar. Ghubar means dust, right? So, ghubar is dust when it's in the air. They call it ghubar. Okay, so like let's say a horse is running, and dust, stirs in the air and it starts moving around, floating around. That ghubar is what he's talking about. Yeah, ghabara actually means something that is left behind. Right, so ghabara is actually a word that means to be left behind. Ghabir al-ayyam. Ha'idan hada yahidu. Yeah, hiyadatan, to move away from something. Yeah, so to move away, to turn away from something, you call it al-hiyada. So ha'id, it means to turn away. Ma'ilan anhu. Yeah. So man yura anil ghubari. So ha'idan is actually the maf'ul of yura. So the one who is seen moving away from the ghubar, anil ghubar. Yeah, moving away from the ghubar. So what is he basically saying over here? He says, La yastawi, the guy who builds a mosque, ya'murul masjid, or who occupies a mosque, cannot be the same as the one who spends the night in ruku and sujud. Yeah, the guy who spends all day in the mosque cannot be seen as the same as a person who spends his night in ruku and sujud. Yad'abu fiha qa'iman wa qa'idan. So yad'abu fiha, his habit is that he spends his time in the mosque standing and sitting. Qa'idan and qa'iman. Like he's just in the mosque. He's sometimes standing in the mosque, he's sometimes sitting in the mosque. Maybe he's not doing any worship, but he just spends all the time in the mosque. How can the guy who worships Allah be the same as the person who just stays in a mosque? Right? Staying in the mosque isn't virtuous. It's actually the worship that you do. وَمَنْ يَكُرُّ هَكَذَا مُعَانِدًا كَرَّ يَكُرُّ, the one who comes back. So this could be in reference to coming back to the masjid. Just mu'anid, as in this guy is he doesn't do any worship in the mosque. He just does, he is mu'anid of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now here, Sayyidina Ali could be making a reference to the Quraysh. Because in the Quran, Allah says that about the mushrikun of Quraysh. He says, إِنَّمَا يَعْمُرُ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. Yeah, that the true people who occupy the mosques are the ones who believe in Allah. Yeah, not the kuffar Quraysh who are occupying the Masjid al-Haram at that time. They were in the Masjid al-Haram and they were just doing shirk in there really. So just staying in the mosque is not virtuous. It's actually what you do is actually virtuous. So it's as though he's kind of like having a go at these kuffar of Quraysh. You guys think that you guys are occupying the most sacred site on the face of the earth. That's nothing virtuous. What is virtuous is actually what you do in that mosque. Make sense? So, لا يستوي من يعمر المساجد. The one who preoccupies the mosques are not the same as the one who spends the night in ruku and sujud. يدأب فيها قائما وقاعدا. His habit is simply there that he's simply just يَدْأَبُ فِيهَا. Da'ab, his da'ab inside that mosque, his habit inside that mosque is just standing and sitting. Standing and sitting, standing and sitting. Right? There's nothing virtuous. وَمَنْ يَكُرُّ هَكَذَا مُعَانِدًا. And the one who returns back, repeats like this, mu'anidan, being stubborn of the truth of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ يُرَى عَنِ الْغُبَارِ حَائِدًا. And the one who is seen turning away from the dust. So that turning away from the dust could be in reference to they are not doing sajda on the ground, because when they, in the olden days, the mosques used to have earth, right? It wasn't carpet, it wasn't anything like that. It wasn't marble. It was basically just earth there. So the dust would go on your face. So وَمَنْ يُرَى, and the one who is seen moving away from the ghubar, not wanting to, dirty his face with dust. Right? So a true believer obviously is the one who spends time worshipping Allah, spending their time, even at night time, getting up, praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's where a Muslim's power is. Your power is between you and Allah when you worship Allah in your own time. But if you just have the Muslim clothes on, or you go to a mosque and you just sit in the mosque all day, that doesn't make you virtuous, right? You're just fooling yourself, really. That's what he's saying. Yeah? Okay, and let's look at some of these expressions. So, for example, لا يستوي من يعم مساجد ومن يبيت راكعا وساجدا. يدأب, so من يبيت راكعا, the one who spends his night. You might want to use this sentence as well. بِتُّ اللَّيْلَ راكعا وساجدا. بِتُّ اللَّيْلَ بين الركوع والسجود. That's a nice expression. بِتُّ اللَّيْلَ قارئ القرآن. بِتُّ اللَّيْل نائما. يدأب فيها قائما وقاعدا. Yeah, so يدأب, دأب يدأب. يدأب زيد في البيت يقرأ الكتب. قارئ الكتب. Yeah, يذكر الله. ومن يكر كر يكر. يكر, it means to repeat, going back. من يكر معاندا. كر زيد تائبا. Zayd came back repenting. من يرى عن حائدا. يعني كان زيد حائدا عن الحق ثم رجع إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى. هذا يحيد. So there's some expression that you can. Now this is one interpretation I've given of this poem. Okay, it's possible to interpret this poem in various other ways as well. But the main thing is just to try and understand the language. I would say focus on the language. Try to understand what the words, the richness of the expressions are saying as well. Okay, now the reason I'm saying this is because sometimes, the Arabs, when they say this person is staying away from the ghubar, this is in reference to fighting in battles. Yeah, so there's a famous poem, if you know this famous poem of Abdullah ibn Mubarak. He wrote this letter to Fudayl ibn Iyad, that Fudayl ibn Iyad would spend all of his time in Masjid al-Haram and Masjid al-Nabwi. And Abdullah ibn Mubarak would spend 6 months in the battlefield, 6 months teaching at home. So Abdullah ibn Mubarak wrote a letter to him. Yeah. So if you know that poem, put it in the comments below. It's a very famous poem. There's nasheeds about this poem as well. It starts off with Ya Abid al-Haramain. Yeah? And in there the word ghubar is mentioned as well. So this is why sometimes in reference to fighting in battles as well. Some have actually even mentioned that this poem was actually said when the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba were building the first mosque in Medina. The first mosque in Medina. طيب يقول سيدنا علي لا يستوي من يعمر المساجد يعني لا يمكن أن يكون سواء الذي يكون في ساكن المسجد الذي يظل في المسجد يعني يمكث في المسجد يمكث في معابد الله سبحانه وتعالى ومن يبيت راكعا وساجدا ولا يستوي مع الذي يبيت يعني يكون ليله يسهر الليل يكون ليله بين الركوع والسجود يدأب فيها قائما وقاعدا ويعتاد فيها يعتاد في المساجد القيام والقعود والجلوس يعني يبقى بين القيام أحيانا وبين الجلوس أحيانا ومن يكر هكذا معاندا والذي يعود هكذا في هذه الحالة معاندا عن الحق مخالفا للحق ومن يرى عن الغبار حائدا والذي يرى والذي يظهر ويعلم أنه يحيد عن الغبار يعني لا يريد أن يتلوث بالغبار فيجتنبه ولا يريد أن يشارك فيه سواء كان هذا في حالة السجود لا يريد أن يسجد لله سبحانه وتعالى لأنه يخشى على نفسه التلوث أو لا يريد أن يشترك في المعركة في المعارك فيبتعد عنها ويكون هكذا. طيب, Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys next time. Remember, make loads of du'as for me, inshallah, and also make loads of du'as for my patrons, those of you guys who are supporting my channel on a monthly basis. If anyone does want to support my channel, please consider it. It helps me develop these videos, make these series, and you guys, inshallah, can benefit. So I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.